Hi, I'm Dr. Sylvia Peregrino, and this is Entre Nosotras, Latina Voices. Today, I'm honored to have a wonderful guest and friend, Ms. Patricia Islas, who's the coordinator for service learning here at El Paso Community College, and she's also an professor of communications at the Rio Grande campus at EPCC. Welcome, Ms. Islas.
Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you for having me. Entre Nosotras, Latina Voices. I am very honored to be here.
Ms. Islas, or Pati, can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yes, I am a native El Paso, and I was born in California, but I've lived here all my life. I've been here with the college since 2002. I received both my bachelor's and my master's degree in speech communications from UTEP, and wanted to teach at the college level. So EPCC gave me the opportunity and the start, and I love working here. I am, like you said, I teach at the Rio Grande campus. I've been teaching there since I started here at the college. I'm an associate professor of speech. I'm also the district-wide coordinator for speech, and I am one of the coordinators for the service learning program. As far as here at the college, I've served in a variety of different committees and task forces, and I've been asked to serve on different task forces, especially that relate to service to the community, CAN drives. I'm currently serving on the task force for the family-friendly spaces that are being put in place at each campus.
Ms. Islas, tell us how you first got interested in service learning and doing community work.
You know, that my start in serving the community started at a very young age. I grew up in the Second Ward, and so seeing some of the needs of our community and participating, I did attend Lydia Patterson, and I remember my start was across the street at El Pan, an Episcopal organization that was a pantry packing food for people in the community, and I realized that that was something that I liked. I liked serving our community. And while I attended UTEP, I was part of the Wesley Foundation and president for the Wesley Foundation for 4 years, also participating in praxis and community service in locally as well as internationally. I had the opportunity to go with PeaceWorks to Russia and participate as a volunteer and missionary. And from then on, I realized that part of my education and my voice was not only to work in speech communication, but also to serve the community in different capacities. When I graduated from UTEP with my bachelor's, I had the opportunity to work. I was already volunteering at the Opportunity Center and became the educational coordinator for the Opportunity Center education program. Also working, ironically, with continuing ed program with EPCC under Jim Rath at the time, and had the opportunity to engage students to come to EPCC and take, small courses in MS-DOS at that time and, MS Word, and just trying to get, some computer skills so that they would become more employable, GED, things of that sort. Working there, I worked there for 5 years. I was able to firsthand see and visualize the needs of the community. That education, of course, is one of the biggest barriers for people in our community, among housing, among mental illness, our veterans, and so many other issues that I had the privilege of learning about those needs in our community. From that, I went back to UTEP to get my master's and realized I wanted to work in education but continue working in the community. So in 2006, Isela Fulton, one of our former faculty in English, saw that I love working with the community and told me that there was an opportunity for serving the community through the service learning program. So I approached Dean Claude Mathis at the time, that I was the person I thought for being the coordinator for service learning. And he said, okay. And from then on, everything else has fallen into place. I've been with the service learning program going on my 17th year. And I love working with the service learning program, engaging faculty, students, developing different projects that serve the community, and also that we are teaching students that being part of the community and creating that civic engagement for them and creating that foundation that they too have a place in our community and how they can help, I think is very important. and EPCC offers that opportunity through the service learning program.
And so tell us, how is service learning different from volunteering?
I'm glad you asked that question. When I began with service learning, I really had no idea what service learning is. And through researching and educating myself about the program and the project, service learning has that academic component. Although service learning, the term was first coined in the 1970s by the education commissioner at that time, it wasn't until the 1990s that it actually became a national issue. George Bush first passed the Community Service Act, and then it was reauthorized in 1993 by President Clinton. And he gave it more that the service learning was an actually active teaching method, right? That it was an organized form of service incorporating into the school districts. California was the first one that really incorporated it not only in the elementary or high school level, but also in higher education. So service learning is an organized form of learning that connects course objectives to real life experiences, and thus the difference between volunteering. Now, not that volunteering, there's anything wrong with volunteering. Serving, the homeless, or volunteering at donating books or a can drive are all great ways to help the community. Where service learning, it is, time service with reflection about their service and how it connects to the class, how these issues, social issues that they're learning about in the community tie into the course, whether it be healthcare, whether it be, helping our animals in the community, whether it's homelessness, issues of housing, voting, the immigrant situation in our community. It creates a visibility for them of some of the issues that, although we see them but don't understand them, but through service and learning with their courses, they're able to make those connections.
And see that firsthand.
Yes, definitely.
And so we have a number of projects that are based here at the college that they wouldn't have to go into the community, but it's still related to service. Could you talk a little bit about those?
Yes. We have some great instructors that have taken upon themselves to develop projects here on campus. One of them is at the Northwest campus, and that's Ms. Crisol Escobedo, who teaches philosophy. And she initiated the project, I believe, about 7 or 8 years ago, Rising Stars. She began working with Canutillo Schools, which is right in front or catty corner from Northwest Campus, bringing students to have the opportunity to tutor and engaging other students to tutor and mentor, as well as other faculty, those children, creating that connection with the EPCC community. During the pandemic, it was quite a challenge to do that, of course, since we were all learning remotely and working remotely. But she didn't give up. We were able to apply for a grant together and apply for a Youth Service America grant and able to do tutoring online with students from the community. And it was a successful project, and it continues to work now. She's back face-to-face, and we continue to find ways to engage and help those students in the community. The other project that also worked well during the pandemic and is now also in full swing at Misión del Paso campus under the direction of Dr. Sarah Martinez. She began the EPCC crochets with Dr. Wiseman, who has stepped down, but used to be one of the coordinators and pioneers for the service learning program. They did the EPCC crochets. So during the pandemic, they would crochet with Project Warm Babies blankets for the children in the hospitals that are born, addicted to drugs, and so provided different caps and blankets for the children, as well as working with creating nests for birds for one of the local partners and agencies. So Dr. Martinez continues to work with that project, now going back face to face, and actually she has quite a following with that project. Another one of the projects is EPCC Jardín that they started last semester with Dr. Kim Diaz, also from Misión del Paso, teaches philosophy, and Dr. Martinez. They are developing a garden at the Misión del Paso, very successfully working with students to engage them in developing a green space and environment on campus. So those are just some of the projects. Of course, we have also, Papagayo, who also engages students, and they do book drives. They bring in speakers, and also creating that connection to the community to do different projects under Charlie Miller at Valle Verde campus and Jorge Gomez at the Rio Grande campus.
So it seems like there's a project for almost every major.
Yes. So service learning can be done for any major. Throughout the years, we've worked with more than 125 different instructors in different disciplines, from biology to accounting, psychology, speech, engineering, math. And so service learning can be incorporated as a timely and organized way of learning. It's just up to the instructor. Instructors decide how they incorporate it to the class and what type of credit or reflective form they use in their curriculum or their course.
And I know I've had students more pre-pandemic that I would encourage them to do service learning, because I think for them they can also, it's career exploration, it's something they can put on their resume. And I just wanted to put a plug in that your office did a great job at keeping track of the hours for us and sending out information.
One of the great things is that, and one of the reasons why service learning is important, that students not only get the opportunity to do the service, we do collect the data, we do document the data, we use Banner to document all the students that do service. So if a student comes back and says, Ms. Islas, I lost my certificate, or can I have a letter that says I have completed so many hours, we can do that. We can look it up, which semester, which instructors. If they don't with their ID, we can look up the information and find out how many hours that student did for which class, which is great in terms of data, because if any instructor wants to know in the last 5 years, 3 years, 10 years, how many students they engaged, we can go ahead and look up that information. And that's one of the reasons why we save that data. They use it not only for reports for the college, but also to demonstrate the importance and the significance that we do as a community college to give back to the community. We have more than 20,000 hours documented of service that students have done. When you look at the dollar amounts, that's pretty extraordinary what our students do for our community.
And that's wonderful, because it's a win-win for both,
Yes.
for the agency that's getting the assistance and for the student that's getting the hands-on experience.
Yes. Students, and it's a great opportunity, Sylvia, because students, as you mentioned, not only are they working on their degree and developing professional skills, they're networking. And as we know, right, it's who you know, how you connect with other people, that they're able to see the skill and get the training, create critical thinking skills that applies for any major, right? Developing those critical thinking skills from making that cold call, can I do service at your organization, to learning about standards, policies, procedures. They learn about work ethic, good and bad. I have students that say, I didn't like what they were doing. All right, that's good, you're learning. You're learning, and what can we do different, and what did you observe? What are some of those needs, and why is that happening at that organization?
And so right now, how many organizations are you partnering with?
Currently, we're working with 45 different nonprofit organizations in the area, to include at least 8 of those on campus, at the different campuses. So students, if they don't have the transportation, sometimes that seems to be an issue. I don't want that to be an issue. So if students have the opportunity to serve, as long as they're serving, they can develop their own project. Or if students come up and say, Ms. Islas, I have an idea for a project that I'd like to do for campus or for the students or for an organization, we can work with those students, and we serve as a support and facilitate placement and to help engage students. That's our role.
So typically, how many hours do are students required to do?
For the program, in order to give credits, 20 hours per course per semester. Students can complete their 20 hours. Now, that's the minimum, but students can complete more hours, and I encourage them because by the time they graduate, we have students that have completed 100 hours, which looks great in their resume. When they apply for any scholarship, the first thing they ask them is, how many hours have you done of service, community service? I was just on one of the boards, one of the local high schools that was asking me, could you, help us evaluate for the scholarships, and it was for community service. So I do encourage students that they document and keep track of those hours, and we can help facilitate tracking their hours for when they need it.
I know, looking at the list, sometimes some organizations require more hours than the 20. Is that up to the student if they want to do that as well?
Yes, we do create a partnership and a memorandum of understanding with organizations under the pretense that they know that this is a 2-year college, so students are here for 2 years, and their time and everything as an institution, we require 20 hours, which is what most colleges, not universities, give students the opportunity to do. Now, some organizations may require a 5-hour training or a 3-hour training or a 1-hour training, and the instructor can decide whether they want to incorporate that as part of their learning experience, service learning experience, or in addition to. Some students may do 20 hours, some students do way more than the 20 hours because I like what they're doing. They're engaged, and when students are engaged, they don't look as much at the time because they are learning. So if they're enjoying what they're doing, in my 16 years that I've been with the service learning program, we have had maybe 1 or 2 students, not complaints, but that there was an issue with the student. Maybe they didn't like the place where they were doing their service, or they didn't complete the service. Other than that, for the most part, students are happy, they're engaged, and they have a good experience. So we continue to foster that relationship with those partners that are giving our students not only the opportunity, but great experiences when they're doing their service to the community.
And if somebody's watching our show and would be interested in having students come in to do service learning at their agency, what's that process like?
Great question, Sylvia. They can visit EPCC, Search Service Learning Program, and all the information not only for the agencies, but for students and faculty that are interested in learning more about the service learning program. For the agencies, if they look up agency resources, they can find our agency involvement form. The agency involvement form is just to get information about the organization. What do they do? What are their needs? How many students are they willing to facilitate placement for those students? The hours, the time, special events. Some organizations may require 20 students, while other organizations say 1 student is enough. That's why we have different organizations to work with students, not only schedules. Some organizations are open from 8 to 5. Some organizations are open on Saturdays, some are not. Some are open 24 hours. And that gives a great opportunity for students to work with their schedule, their times, and find something that relates to their class. And like I said, it's up to the instructor, where the instructor gives them the opportunity to do service. It's not up to us. We provide those placements, and we try to have a list of different organizations for different disciplines to choose from. Now, if an organization, once they fill out their application, they send it to us. They send it to servicelearning@epcc.edu. All that information is found on the website. And we will go ahead and give them a call back, set up a meeting, talk a little bit about the program and orientation for the organization so they know what to expect. We will be having an orientation and an appreciation, so you mark your calendars, June 5th. And we invite all organizations and to learn what are some of the things they really enjoyed, how many students that they have, and also to celebrate our faculty and our students that participate in the community, and our partners, which we are very grateful in fostering those relationships that give students the opportunity to participate in the community.
And so most of the organizations are nonprofit organizations?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd say 90% of the organizations, and there's a reason for that. So the purpose of service learning is that we're connecting and filling those needs where many nonprofits do not have the funding, the resources, and therefore students are elemental. And I also want to see that students are not just there to fill a number, but there's a particular need, right? Whether it's developing a campaign, helping or reading for the elderly, or financial literacy for families, or volunteering and tutoring at a school, or participating with Rising Stars and tutoring. that the service that they're doing is meaningful service that connects to their class, and that the partners understand that that's the whole purpose of it.
So besides the agency placements that you help facilitate, what other projects have you done in the past?
Some of the projects we have done in the past, one of our biggest, our signature projects that was led and funded by our new coordinator for service learning, Ms. Shannon Valles. She started that project, and Service Learning has facilitated and supported her project. We started 7 years ago with the EPCC school store, which gives students school supplies. We started with just the donations of the college and students here at EPCC, which I will say are wonderful. You know, we have such a giving community here at EPCC. Later, I think it was our third year, we were able to secure a grant through El Paso Community Foundation, and we're able to give more school supplies and backpacks for the students. Now, the purpose is not just giving school supplies, it's creating that bridge. Here is a place where you can further your education. We want you to be ready for school, because in the future, we want you here at EPCC. And so during the pandemic, we thought it's not going to happen, but El Paso Community Foundation and EPCC said we should move forward, and we did. We still delivered backpacks. We had EPCC faculty and students still volunteer remotely to be able to, get the backpacks ready. We, for those 2 years, 1,500 backpacks for students in our community. And this year, it'll be July 15th. At the Rio Grande campus, and it continues to grow as students come in and learn about the project. But I think it's a great way to connect students to EPCC. That's one of our signature and one of our biggest projects that Ms. Shannon Valles is spearheading, and Service Learning has supported that project. Now that she's a part of it, well, that is one of the projects we invest a lot of time in.
That's great, because school supplies can be expensive for families that have multiple children and might be struggling financially.
Yes.
And like you say, it's also a way for them to have a good impression of EPCC and to come to the campus if nobody in their family has ever attended college.
Mm-hmm. And not only do we give school supplies, we have different programs share what they do, like the phlebotomy, they go to radiology, to the English department. We have clubs showing some of the things they do, like the chemistry club, the geology club. They get an eyeful of all the possibilities here at EPCC, which our goal is just that, for students not only to learn, but other EPC students engaging and persuading students to come to EPCC.
And so those are wonderful opportunities and experiences for our students. So I know we've touched upon a lot of topics dealing with service learning and the projects that we have here on campus. Is there anything else you would like to add that maybe we haven't talked about yet?
I just would like to add that there's always an opportunity for different projects. If an instructor has a project they want to partner up for service learning, we are open to different projects. Or there's instructors or students that say, or a community agency, I want to know more. I want to be part of that program. I want to give EPCC students the opportunity. We welcome the opportunity for other agencies to be a part of that connection, and with EPCC and students, helping them learn and further their opportunities for helping the community, the El Paso community. And to faculty, we are here to help, to support, to empower you and your students to serve the community.
I know that I have had students participate in the programs, and I just think it's a wonderful experience. So I thank you and your staff for everything that you do.
Thank you,
and
Dr.
I know during the holidays, you also put together Thanksgiving packages for people in our community. So I thank you for doing all those wonderful projects.
Thank you, and we look forward to continue working with the EPCC faculty, students, and staff, which I'd like to mention have been very instrumental in helping when we do these drives or these dinners, because without them we couldn't we couldn't possibly do everything we do. without the help of our EPCC family.
We're going to have the website listed there so that students and agency partners can see who we are working with already and how they can become, if they're not working with us yet, how they can partner with us through that form that you mentioned. And I thank you for being here and for everything that you do for us. I would just say that in looking through the agency list, it could be any major, right? You have stuff in science, in engineering, in nursing, communications, English, and and just learning about farming.
And if there's an organization that is not on there that you think this would be a great organization that I would like to work with, or that I currently work for, please, by all means, we are always open to learn and to expand our list of opportunities for students. So I welcome the opportunity for many faculty or even the students. Sometimes they're the ones that say, we just learned about laws and pause, which we're hoping to connect, but I did not know about the organization. Dr. Kim Diaz was the one who mentioned it, and I said, you know what, let me go ahead and contact them to see if there's opportunities for our students to go. We try to find organizations all over the city so that our students at Misión del Paso have an opportunity to do service over there. For our students at Northwest, at Trans Mountain, we're trying to find opportunities at all the different locations where students can, that it's not far for them to be able to engage in service learning.
And so, Ms. Islas, thank you for being our guest today.
Thank you for having me, Sylvia. I really do appreciate it.
And I'm Dr. Sylvia Peregrino. This is Entre Nosotras, Latina Voices. Today, my guest has been Ms. Pati Islas, coordinator for the Service Learning Program. And be sure to tune in for more of our shows on EPCC TV. Previous shows are available through our YouTube channel. And for students and agencies that are interested, we'll provide the Service Learning website. Thank you.
Thank you.